everyone, and welcome to our very first episode of Wedlocked In. I'm Ella.
And I'm Martin, and me and Ella, my soon-to-be wife, will be looking at a bunch of crazy Reddit stories on marriage, relationships, and parenting, as we are fairly new parents ourselves. Would you say
6 months in,
Yeah.
6 months in, so still learning the ropes. But we have some crazy Reddit stories for you today. I mean, I literally only discovered the beauty of Reddit recently, but I have been addicted ever since. The amount of insane stories and the things that people are willing to admit to on the internet is genuinely mind-blowing.
People will just say anything to strangers on the internet. It's why I don't know. Would you think I'm a quite private person? I like to think I keep
Say you're a relatively private person.
Yeah, I don't know why people would willingly broadcast a lot of the stuff they do. But I guess,
people do it anonymously, though. That's the thing.
Say,
it's not like they put a name to it. That's why they'll admit to these crazy things, because they're like... Also, I think sometimes as well, people are always like, why would you ask a bunch of strangers on the internet these really intimate things about, like, your life? But I guess, in a way, it's better to do it to strangers on the internet rather than people that you actually know, because you don't have to deal with strangers on the internet. You're never going to meet them. You're never going to see them.
Yeah, some of the things that I've read on Reddit, if that was me in that situation, I would not be willing to admitting them to a lot of people. Probably not the internet either, knowing me, but I think the dog's just wandered off.
Yeah, that was Rocky, by the way. He's our podcast mascot, so you'll probably see him cropping up every now and again. And if you hear him sleep woofing, then enjoy, because it's great. Right, okay, so should we get into our first one, let's get into our first story. This is coming from r/AITA WIBTA public.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty long title. So the title is, am I the asshole for refusing to go to my brother and sister's wedding? Let that sink
Tyrion, you should probably go to Jaime and Cersei's wedding, because you're gonna bring the Lannister name into disrepute if you don't.
Well, yeah, all the Targaryens also had a similar way of life. So here we go. Yes, my brother and sister are getting married with each other. And now that we've said that, it's time for some clarification. My mother divorced my father and married my stepfather. At the time, I was 4 years old, and my stepfather had adopted a 3-year-old son, Leo. After some time, my mother gave birth to my sister, Kimberly. Okay, so just to clarify, they're not blood siblings.
So the groom, I should say, in this situation, is an adopted brother.
Yes, but they've been raised together since they were like...
Okay.
Well, since birth.
Okay, I'm just going to let you go.
Let's carry on. Okay, so we were raised as siblings our whole lives, and I was always sure that was how we saw our relationship. But when I was 21, I moved to a different city, and my relationship with Kimberly suffered because of this. At some point, I noticed that Leo also stopped talking to me as much. I probably should have noticed that something was wrong, but there were so many other things going on that I could write separate posts about, so I didn't think much of it. In 2022, on Christmas Day, Kimberly and Leo announced that they were dating. I was shocked. I remember making a big fuss about it, but my family told me to calm down and don't ruin the holidays.
Oh, okay.
It was easy to see that many of them already knew, and they were terrifyingly okay with it. I never accepted it. I tried many times to talk to them and understand what had happened. This year, I received an invitation to their wedding, scheduled for the end of August. I immediately announced I wouldn't be attending. I said straight out that I didn't like this at all and that I didn't understand why everyone pretended not to see how strange it was. This has caused quite a rift in the family. A few people have finally come out and admitted that they don't want to be involved either, but others, including my biological father and stepfather, think I'm overreacting. My stepfather refuses to speak to me until I apologise to Leo and Kimberly. My biological father thinks I should just stay out of it, go to the wedding, smile, and get on with my life. But there are also people in my family who call me an asshole, whom I once thought were close to me and reasonable people. Honestly, the closer it gets to the wedding, the more lost I feel.
Quite a lot to unpack there.
Just a little bit, yeah. So first thoughts, you go first.
Well, thank you for picking a really long-winded and complicated first one to try and wrap my tiny little pea-sized brain around. I don't know. First thing I'd say to what we meant to call them, original poster, OP.
So that refers to, if anyone listening, OP refers to the person who wrote the post.
Yeah. So I'm going to call you Tyrion just because it mildly amuses me. Tyrion it seems to me like since the start of this weird, slightly but technically not incestuous relationship, you have, set out your view on it and you've stuck to your guns. Fair play to you. I can't help but also agreeing that it's a little bit weird if they've like, I know, yes, they're not biologically brother and sister, so the risks of complications with having children down the line, that won't affect them because there's no biological crossover. So technically it's not like illegal, but it's still a bit icky because they've been raised as brother and sister.
It is so icky. Okay, so I've heard a lot of podcasts reading out Reddit stories about like slightly incestuous relationships, and there's always a lot of conversation about whether it's okay if you're not actually blood related to each other. I think if you're raised together as brother and sister, or as any sort of like familial relation, it's kind of weird if you start dating.
Yeah.
I mean, so I am a child of divorce, and my mum has been with my stepdad since I was 3, 4. So that would be like, I mean, okay, slightly different because obviously my mum's with him, but that would be like me going out with Dan like 10 years later, okay, 20 years later, whatever, because we're not related, but he is my stepfather. It's kind of the same thing, right? We're not blood related, but like I've known him since I was 4, so obviously it would be friggin' weird.
I can see the logic in your argument. It would be weird. Yeah, I don't know. I just think, especially sort of growing up together and sort of seeing each other at those like intimate childhood moments, it's you're not meant to be with that person long term, are you? It's like it's weird for me as well because I don't have siblings. You're an only child too, so we don't know about sibling dynamics and relationships. But
you don't. I mean, you don't fuck your siblings. I think that's fair to say.
Some people do.
Some people do, but they definitely shouldn't. But yeah, no. So okay, my thinking on this is it's weird. I would be uncomfortable with it, but I suppose it also depends like how strong the relationships are with Leo and Kimberly. Because do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever you think about the situation, like whatever OP thinks, it's icky, it's gross, and I don't actually know if it's a he or a she because I don't think it actually says. So whoever OP is, I think you do risk obviously not having a relationship with Kimberly or Leo if you don't go to their wedding. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I suppose it's like, yeah, I do kind of think you're valid for not going because I personally do find it icky. But at the same time, if you don't go, you probably will not have a relationship with them, and potentially you might ruin other relationships in your family. So I suppose it is about, you can decide not to go and that's fine. I don't think you're an asshole for not going, but I also think you probably do have to accept the consequences of that, in that you probably won't have a relationship with these people
It
again.
is that I feel like in families sometimes you have a choice between taking a stand for what you think is morally right, or it couldn't be something as weird and convoluted as this. It could be anything. Could be schooling choices or any, but you have a choice whether to keep the peace and sort of keep your mouth shut, or stick to your guns and suffer the consequences of those actions. And to me, it sounds like this person's already thinking that they're not going to go and just deal with the backlash and whatever happens. But yeah, it's a bit unfair on them to be suffering the backlash for something I kind of agree with them on, I think so. But that's the way it is, isn't it?
Well, to play devil's advocate, they, I do think what they're doing is icky, but I suppose morally it is a little bit of a grey area because, like you did mention before about like children, if they did choose to and wanted to have children, there wouldn't be any physical repercussions on the children because they don't share any blood. And I suppose what is the actual implication on OP's life? Do you know what I mean? I mean, yes, it would be weird. Yeah. Christmases, you'd probably be like, this is a bit weird. So this is my brother, this is my sister. Oh, and this is our, my little niece or nephew.
That's your mum and dad. Matching Christmas jumpers.
It would be weird, but at the same time, what is the harm? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no how is it going to change OP's life if this happens? And also, the other thing I would say is the wedding's going to happen regardless of whether you go or not. If you choose not to go, you're potentially losing 2 really important people in your life. If you go and if they do stay together forever as well, it's like your opinion on the situation isn't going to change things.
Yeah.
No children are going to be harmed in the in the making of this film called The Targaryens.
Princess incest. If it's an open bar, fucking go, dude. Or chica, whichever persuasion you are. Yeah. Just have a dance, have a drink, have some food, be with your family.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? So
Yeah.
those moments you get together.
It does bring keeping it in the family to a whole new level.
Shall we see what
Let's
the
see what the comments have to
Redditors
say.
thought? I think the
Yes.
iPad's gone to sleep. Hang on.
Yeah, I
have a look.
personally think that you're not an asshole if you don't want to go, but I just think that you've got to deal with what happens after that if you choose not to
Right,
go.
this was your story choice. So do you want to?
Yes, let's
Do you want me
read
to hold your
some of the
tea? Can you
comments.
manage?
I'm okay. I can
Good,
do
good.
both.
Please don't spill it on the iPad.
Okay, so the top comment says, "Stand strong, bestie. This is weird. What's worse is how everyone just dictates to you how you're supposed to feel about this. Stay home. If people stop talking to you or call you an asshole, that's honestly their failing, not yours. You owe no one any kind of apology. Showing up at their wedding suggests that you sanction this relationship, which you don't. So be true to yourself, be your authentic self, and stay home, and everyone else can just piss off."
Charming.
And it has 552 upvotes. So you can say that the Reddit community very much agree with this comment. What do you think about that?
I think that's a fair point. I think that's kind of what I said initially. Like, you've drawn your line in the sand. Now stick to it. You know, stick to your guns. Back yourself up. If you know, you can't help how you feel about something as well. Like, if that's the way you feel, your family might not agree with it, but you can't often help the way you feel. So
yeah, I think the only bit I would challenge of this comment is showing up at their wedding suggests that you sanction this relationship. I would say I don't 100% agree with that, because I'd say there's probably situations in families where, you know, a mother-in-law might not like their new like daughter-in-law or something, but you know, if you do choose not to go to that wedding, I think you should be there to support the people you love. I think that's what you should show up for. Like, you might go to weddings sometimes and you might think, I don't think this is going to last, or this is totally wrong. But at the end of the day, it's not your decision. You're there to support the people who you love. I don't think you're there to necessarily to support the
That's what I was
relationship.
going to say. It's not a sanctioning of the relationship necessarily. Two loved ones of yours. You know, often it's, you know, either you know the bride better or the groom better, but in this case you know both, and we've just seen why. But you know, if you want to go just to support them, it doesn't necessarily mean you agree with or sanction was the word this person used, the relationship. So just do what you want, but if you are going to go, don't cause a fuss, because then you're being a dick. That's you know,
if you're gonna go
behave
and just
yourself.
just put the weirdness out of your mind and just go have a nice time and be polite. Or, you know, if you feel like you're gonna like say something, then obviously don't go.
Shut your eyes and do a few shots. A lot of these are American posts, I think. Just get some edibles, dude, and just chill out.
Lay back and think of England.
Not if you're American.
Well, they might be thinking of England. Yeah, they do. They want
probably haven't thought of
and
England
crumpets,
since
which is pretty much
1776.
Don't
think they like this very much after that.
Well, you know.
So, do we have a verdict on whether the Reddit community and we consider them to be... Are we saying asshole or arsehole? Because I don't know.
Arsehole sounds weird, does it?
I feel like an English or a
We
Brit.
probably should
I feel
say
like
arsehole.
a Brit saying asshole. It doesn't quite. It's got to be
but
arsehole.
arsehole sounds a bit too posh.
Am I the arsehole?
Okay.
Sounds posh when you're saying it.
Right. Okay. Well, we're just gonna say arsehole because we're English.
Yeah.
So if that sounds weird to you, I'm sorry.
Backdoor
it sounds weird to
Santa.
me too. There isn't an overall vote, but I'm gonna say from the comments, most people are
Parliament.
saying not the arsehole.
Okay.
So that is
Parliament.
the overall verdict. I would say not the arsehole,
Yeah.
but I would just also say you have to deal with the consequences of your actions if you don't go. To be honest, I would also say I don't think that your brother and sister are the arseholes either. I do think their relationship is a bit icky, but I don't necessarily think they're bad people.
Yeah.
So
I conclude.
So yeah, moving on. Now
Okay.
I get to blind react
Pass me
to
the
whatever
magic
you've chosen for me, so
iPad.
I'm very excited.
The fact you just said I want to blind react to what you just said is going to make everyone think you're not blind reacting now, though. So that's okay, though. You are, because I haven't
I
told
am
this one
blind
yet.
reacting. I promise. We went on a Reddit story hunt for the last few days, and it's been really hard because I've really wanted to tell Martin about the stories I found because they're so crazy, but I've had to hold them in because I've wanted to save his reaction for the podcast.
I also know you have not come across this one because looking at the title, you'd have told me because I'd have been cackling like a bloody chicken in heat.
A chicken in heat.
Yeah,
Cackling like a chicken in heat.
It's a hyena. Hyenas cackle.
That's a new phrase I haven't heard before. Right, go on.
So this is from r/am I the asshole ASSHOLE, the American way. The title. Am I the asshole for not telling a woman she was about to sit in poop?
Oh my god, I saw this one.
Oh,
No,
no.
but I haven't read it. I just saw the title.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea what the context
You
is.
saw the title and you thought my degenerate fiance will definitely pick this one out because he's a man-child.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Right.
Okay, go on. I need more context.
Oh, do you not want to? Oh, you've already reacted to the title. You found it funny. Okay. I, 26 male, was at a crowded park recently where there were food trucks set up and people sitting around eating. Seating was pretty limited, and most of the people were sitting on this low concrete wall that runs along the edge of the parking lot. On the other side of the wall is a grassy area that's level with the top of the wall, so people sit their backs towards the grass, legs facing, and that's a lot of detail. I had just gotten my food, and I noticed the only free spot left. At the same time, I saw a girl well dressed for the park also walking towards it. She saw it first and that I was headed that way, but I was closer than her. But I was closer and got there before her, despite her running, lol, when she saw me approaching it. As I got to it, I looked down at the grass behind the wall and saw a big pile of dog poop right where someone's lower back or clothes would land if they leaned or sat back. It's pretty gross. I decided not to sit. Right then, she walked up and looked annoyed, saying, "Seriously? I was going to sit there?" I didn't want to make a thing of it, so I just stepped aside and said, "Go ahead, you can have it." She immediately sat down without checking behind her, and just a second later jumped up with a disgusted look on her face. The poop was stuck to the back of her skirt. She turned to me and snapped, "Why didn't you say anything?" I told her, "I saw it, yeah, but I didn't know how you were planning to sit. For all I knew, you were just going to perch on the edge or sit upright. It's a park, people walk their dogs here, you've got to check before sitting down." She kept insisting I should have warned her, but I told her I wasn't trying to be petty. I genuinely didn't know how far back she was going to lean or sit, and it wasn't my responsibility to check the ground for her. She could have sat not only on the wall and not on the grass, multiple places to sit, she would have been fine. She eventually walked off frustrated, but now I'm wondering if I should have said something anyway. But I feel like, especially since she was so confrontational about the spot, it wasn't really necessary. Am I the asshole? Arsehole, sorry.
Okay, so wait, this doesn't matter for the story, but just so I can get a clear picture in my head, is OP a man or a woman? Do you know?
Man, 26 male.
So it's a man, and it was him v woman, right? The
Yes.
woman sat in poo.
Yes.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. I mean, if we're being mature, which we're not.
We're doing a segment on poop. There's a distinct lack of maturity already.
Okay. If we're going for the mature answer, yeah, you probably should have told her. Because also, I mean, they're out in public and now she's going to have to walk around looking like she shit herself. So, I mean, there's that. I'm going to say probably yes, arsehole. But I'm going to caveat it with saying I do understand the temptation when someone's being rude to you in public, because I've had it happen before, not with poo, but in a yoga class, I've had it where I'm literally putting my mat down in a certain spot, and then a woman literally comes and slams her mat down there, and you do feel like you want to be a little bit petty. Do you know what I mean? Because it's oh, you've just been a bit of a dick for no reason, and I do understand wanting to get revenge. So okay, sometimes. When I listen to people reading Reddit stories, they talk about sometimes someone's an arsehole, but they're a justified arsehole. So I would maybe say this is a justified arsehole moment. You have been an arsehole, but I kind of feel like maybe it was deserved.
Yeah. I think she got a comeuppance for being a bit funny about, "Oh, that was the last spot I wanted." You should have been quicker then. You wanted it. But yeah, you probably should say, "Oh, don't sit there. There's dog shit on the floor."
Well, the other thing is, as well, is she has to. You don't know what people are going through as well. She might have been having a really bad day. Do you know what I mean? She might have just and I'm not saying that's an excuse for bad behavior, but I don't know. You just don't know what's going on in people's lives. She might have just had a really bad day, and she might have just been a bit snappy. She just wanted to sit down and take a break, and she had a really hard day at work, or a family member had died. You don't know what's going on in people's lives, so she could have been having a really bad day, and then to top it all off, she sits in poo.
Yeah, but on the other hand, while I do agree with you, on the other hand, don't take your bad day out on random person X for the slightest provocation.
But then I suppose he did the same to her. she took her bad day out on him, and then he was annoyed, so he took his annoyance out on
It's
her.
like, well, I'd say, has this ever happened to you? But I know full well you don't drive, so of course this hasn't happened to you. But sometimes if like you get in the it's happened to me twice maybe, where I've been like sort of circling up to reverse into a bay, like a parking bay, and then some dickhead in a ziffy little car will just like drive in forwards while you're sizing the space up. It's like, bro, you could clearly see I was trying to reverse into there, but apparently, you know, your journey is far more important than everyone else. You pay road tax.
Okay, so I know I can't really have an opinion on this because I don't drive, but I will say one story that has always stuck with me that is a reminder to try and not take your road rage out on other drivers who are driving like arseholes, is that no, it was a story my dad told me, which was one time he was like driving down the road, and this guy was like overtaking him, and then he was overtaking him, and they were kind of, you know, kept overtaking each other, and it was getting a little bit arsey. And anyway, my dad like zoomed past him, and then they got to the traffic lights, and then they both stopped at the traffic lights, and he turns to look at the guy through his window, and this guy's pulled a gun on him. So
Yikes.
he shot off, thankfully, was not shot. I never saw this guy again. But it is just a reminder that you don't know who you're dealing with on the road. So try not to piss people off because they might be a psychopath.
It's like when lads start on people on a night out. Like, yeah, you might think he's a skinny little weirdo, but, you know, he might be the top Muay Thai kickboxer in the UK. And he'll wrap a round kick around your dome and you'll be away with a fairy. You know, just don't start stuff with people randomly because you don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree.
But yeah, guns in the UK. Apparently, we don't have guns in Britain according to the US. We do.
Well, we definitely have.
They're
a
just
lot
very
less.
hard to
we
get.
Definitely have a lot less than in the US. We're a bit more stabby over here, though. We're big on the stabbing,
Especially in London.
Yep. Anyway, should we get into some of the comments on this? I'm curious.
Yeah. What was the top comment? We don't read commenters' names out, do we?
Nah,
We're not.
it's okay.
No. Okay. If you really want to see what these people's names are, we've given you the name of the post and the thread, so go and find it yourselves. So this is quoting the bit, I told her I wasn't trying to be petty. This is the part where we need David Beckham poking his nose out of his bedroom door and saying, be honest. Have you seen the meme? You've not seen the series either, have you? So, Victoria Beckham's being interviewed as part of the documentary, and she's like, yeah, we both grew up really working class. She didn't. And then
She was literally posh Spice.
Yeah, but he did, she did. So he pokes his head out, he's like, come on, be honest. No, my dad worked. To be fair, her dad did work, but probably wasn't working class. Yeah. It's like, what did your dad drop you off at in school on your first day of like high school? And it was like some Aston Martin or like a Bentley or something, or like quite a nice car. Mm-hmm. And then she says it over the car and he's like, thank you. So yeah, David Beckham meme, hilarious, great player. So yeah, you were 100% being petty and you know it. If it was so likely that she might have sat in some way that didn't get her covered in poop, if that was so easy, then why did you get up? You didn't want to sit there because even though you'd already seen the poop and knew it was there, you still figured there was a strong chance of you winding up with the crap on your back. You the asshole. I'm guessing that's what YTA stands for.
Yes.
Haha.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, I agree with that comment. Like, yeah, it is an arsehole move. And also, I know I said justified arsehole before. I don't know. I mean, you don't know until you're in that situation. I don't know the way that she spoke to him. Obviously, you shouldn't let random strangers sit in poo, but at the same time, you know, I can understand the impulse if someone's just been really rude to you. But
from a chivalrous point of view, like, if I'm on, I don't go to London that often because we don't live near London, but like if I'm on the tube and there's one seat and I see a woman boarding the same time as me and she eyes that seat and starts going for it, I'm just going to let her have it. Like,
yeah.
You know, people might say, oh, it's sexist to assume women want the seat. But it's like, well, no, it's just trying to be polite. Like if I saw any other person, I'd I'd let them go for the seat if they were going for it.
Well, yeah,
regardless. Exactly. But if it's free, I'll take it.